Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Clifton Johnson. I'm the founder and executive director of the Empower Series. Welcome to the Empower Series podcast, brought to you by the generous donations of Comerica Bank, as well as A&E Media Group, and your generous donations that you contribute online at our www.empowerseries.com website, as well as texting to give at 214-225-6337. And we are here today. I'm so excited to talk to a good friend of mine who's actually been on the Empower Series. So if you want to see him on the Empower Series, you need to search for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Empower Series, where you'll see a group of alumni from the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses talk about their experiences. But we've got here with us live my brother, Brent Reaves, one of the co-owners of Smokey John's Barbecue and home cooking.
Home cooking, absolutely.
Exactly. And just had some barbecue at your place a couple of days ago, right? Yeah. Now, I was just telling him that I'm disappointed that he came with no food. And he's telling me, man, I hear that all the time. But
Every day.
But you know where I'm at, right?
That's right. Hey, I need to do better.
Right. So, again, I wanted to have you on the show, Brent. And first off, I want to appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know that you took a break here. You got to go back to work.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I know Dennis Kimbrough says, whatever you do, don't let anybody waste your time.
Absolutely.
So in addition to me and giving you appreciation, I know that you are very big in sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge. I do want to talk to you about your experiences, your journey, what you feel that the community can benefit from given your experience, because I know that this has been a family business for over 40 years, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, it'll be actually 43 years next month.
Wow, man.
43 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, long time.
And did it started with your father? Is that it?
It started with our dad, John Reaves.
Okay.
Started in 1976.
Wow.
And, he was in a mortgage banking business. Mm-hmm. And so he used to sell turkeys. Actually not selling, he actually would give away turkeys to his clients that he would close loans or roofing jobs. He would just thank them with a turkey.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden he started getting more requests for turkeys
than
loans.
Like, I'm in the wrong business.
Like, man, wait a minute. He had one year where he had over 100 turkeys at the house.
What?
And a friend of his came over and was like, man, you need a restaurant.
Like what is God telling you, right?
Yes. I think you're moving you need to go in another direction, And so he said, you know what? I think I need to do that.
Yeah.
And he did. He took his time and he actually worked for a gentleman for 6 months free.
To learn the business?
To learn the business.
Dude, you don't hear about that much anymore, right?
No, you missed that.
Man, but that's real commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, continue the story about that.
Yeah, so what he would do, he was in mortgage banking business, loans, insurance. He wrote all the policies, everything. He had his own construction business and everything. Dad's a jack of all trades, right. Hustler, right? You just gotta provide for your family. Mm-hmm. So as he was doing that, this whole thing with the turkey started coming along, and he's like, man, but I don't even know how to run a smoker or any of that stuff.
Right.
So he knew a guy. He's like, hey, can I come over there and learn how to use your smoker? So what he would do was get these old school coveralls. You know how you put coveralls? He said he have a 3-piece suit on and have coveralls over that. He would get over there about 5 o'clock in the morning, watch him work for 5 to 6 hours, take the coveralls off, and then go finish, his deals, his loans and mortgage and all. Mm-hmm. He did that for 6 months until he really learned what he was doing, and then he felt comfortable enough to open up a location.
And the first location what was that?
Is a 6412 Lemon Avenue, actually.
Okay.
Years ago.
Okay.
So it's about 2 miles from where we are now, but
right.
That's where he got started.
So your youngest remembrance of your dad doing that was when you started cooking and doing stuff. Were you working in the restaurant and all that stuff?
He started in 76. I'm 41, so that'll be 77 when I just came along.
Right.
But when I was young, I would just go in with him as a kid, and he would make me learn how to cook. Oh. That's how I got started. Really? I got started really at home because he was. We would come home from church, and Dad always cooked Sunday dinner. And so my sister would go watch cartoons, and then he'd say, "Hey, you're coming with me. We're going to go cook dinner." I'm like 5, 6 years old. It's like, Are you serious? He would make me learn how to make cornbread and bake chicken, and so I got started then.
Cool.
Loved it.
Cool. And then I was just reading your bio. So you worked in the food industry, and you went to school, got a degree in that as well.
Yeah.
So did you know from the very beginning that that's what you were going to do?
Honestly, to be honest, it was going to be a fallback, because I really wasn't a big student. I said, well, I know I need a degree, so I'll go to UNT. I liked the school. I thought it was cool. I said, well, I'll start studying hotel restaurant management. That way, if I decide to do this, at least I have a degree in it. And honestly, I've been in the restaurant business with my family so long, I was like, this is going to be a piece of cake.
Right.
This is easy. So that's actually why I did it.
So, wait, and was it easy though? Because you kind of knew some things already.
It was, my major courses were pretty easy. There were some other classes,
right.
Chemistry, biology. It was like, oh my god,
you gotta take those.
You have to? No, I'm gonna want to work in a restaurant. Yeah,
right.
But that's how it goes.
Okay. So when you came out, you had some other jobs. You didn't immediately work with your father in the restaurant.
Well,
right?
How did
that work?
Yeah, in college, I actually, I told you I was a terrible student, but I was really good at partying.
Okay. So you had some skill sets. Right?
I had some skill sets. So I actually was working for Black Eyed Peas. Actually, my first year, I did really bad. Really bad. I mean, I had a 1.4 GPA.
Wow.
Okay. And so my dad, at the end of that year, he's like, listen, I'm not paying for college anymore. I had a scholarship also, and I lost the scholarship. He said, if you want to do this, you're going to have to work over the summer and to go back to UNT, or you're going to stay with me and pay rent and go to junior college. I was like, well, I'm not staying here, Yeah. So he helped me get a job. I started working 70 hours a week in the summer, and I saved up $5,500 to go back to school at UNT.
Okay.
That's why I got the job at Black Eyed Peas, because I had to supplement my income and had to pay for school, housing, and all of that. So I started working 40 hours a week at Black Eyed Peas, and then I ended up working at Outback Steakhouse as well.
But you made it all the way through, right?
Made it all the way through.
So let's there's another topic I'm going to be talking about next month, which is growth mindset. And so how did you feel getting such a low GPA in your first year in college, but then not quitting? I mean, what kind of mindset did you have at that point in time to continue?
I guess my thought was, I knew I was smart. I just didn't apply myself. So I thought to myself, we got to finish this. I can't just start this and not do anything.
Right.
And my dad, my mom, they're pretty strong-minded, strong-willed people, and so I kind of got that from them. I'm not going to quit. So I just decided I'm going to go back and just make this happen.
So that's good, man, because you've heard of growth mindset.
Absolutely.
And so the fixed mindset would have been, you got that 1 point whatever, and you're thinking that defines who you are. That defines your level of intelligence, and you can't do any better. Whereas a growth mindset says, this is just a mark that tells you, well, this is a result of your effort.
Right.
And so if you it's more information, and this when you look at entrepreneurship, you can't look at not achieving your goal as a failure, but just more information.
Absolutely.
And so from the very beginning, you had that with the experience of your parents, your personal experience. You come out and tell me about this whole deal with, I don't want to jump around, but
Sure.
I am going to jump around.
Sure.
So you got that college experience, you come out and you're working. I'm really interested in your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
And your experiences, and just knowing what you said at the interview. You were on our show. You talked about your access to people, and you were connected with, I think, Michael Bloomberg and Lloyd Blankfein, who were able to sit down with you and really help you create an expansion plan. It's like, those are billionaires, man.
Yeah, so it wasn't actually them. It was actually their team. It was
which is almost more important, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that opportunity just came from a Goldman Sachs program. And so one of the things after getting out of college and actually getting involved in the business, we actually went through a very down time in the business, but through a lot of effort and grassroots marketing, we built the business up. And we built the business to a point where I was like, I need to learn more. I either need to figure out how to go to a course where I can learn more, or I'm going to have to get an MBA.
And why were you thinking that? If your business is growing and it's doing well, what was it that felt like you didn't have enough, experience and knowledge to keep growing?
Right. So I didn't know how to scale. So my vision was bigger than my knowledge.
Okay.
And so at that point, I thought I need to learn some more in order to keep progressing, because it's, people can get to a point where you plateau, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to take this momentum and use that momentum. I'd heard several times, I listened to a lot of motivational speakers, and a lot of people say, ride the momentum. So that's what I started thinking. I was like, I need to ride this momentum.
Okay.
And then so with the Goldman Sachs program, we got an opportunity to actually go to New York to do this private coaching with some of the top executives of Bloomberg and Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs, yeah. That's crazy, man.
Oh my God. It was remarkable. I mean, they basically took my 5-year plan that I had generated, my growth plan from Goldman Sachs, and they just broke it apart and showed me how to work this for the next 5 years to accomplish my goals. So while I'm doing this, we're actually in a time where the business had been shut down from a fire. So it was amazing because I'm getting all of these tools on how to rebuild more than just the space, but the whole company.
Yeah.
So it was priceless. I mean, you can't.
And you're still in that plan, right? How many years was it? It was a 5-year plan?
5-year plan.
And you're what, year 3 now, or what?
So we had to start over from the fire. This happened. So as soon as I finished Goldman Sachs, we were on the 20% growth off of a record-breaking year. And so we were thriving, and then we had a fire to shut the whole thing down. So now we're finally getting started in the plan. Now I'm 6 months in the plan now.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let's So you were very passionate when you were on a stage, really encouraging people who had an idea to really set goals, surround themselves with people who think bigger than themselves. So what are some of the things, I want to give you an opportunity just to talk and share your wisdom to encourage people who are out there at different levels of having an idea as what they can do, because when they look at you, they think, man, Smokey John's, your father was successful, you and your brother got it, you're successful. They don't see your ups and downs.
Right.
Some people listening to this didn't know that they weren't even aware that your restaurant was burnt down,
right?
Or some of the struggles you've had. So just, I'm going to be quiet and listen to you for a little bit. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that you have to consider is when you're starting to create a strategy from an idea. It all starts from an idea. I think the biggest thing is to just create some positive action. So some people think about something for a long time, but they never do anything. So I use the analogy like you with not analogy, but I think about barbers to me are the best. Okay, you go through college and you learn how to cut hair. It's like, I really want to have my own shop. It's okay. Well, then you got to start somewhere by getting a job. And learn and just get one customer. I think the biggest thing that people forget is the little things add up to big things. And the little things are just one sale at a time. Don't and stop looking at other people and how other people are doing it. All of us have different fingerprints. So that means that it's going to be different for everybody. So you've got to be mindful of what it is, what's your route, what's your plan of attack, And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is I had to search inside myself to see what I needed to do in order for our business to grow. And one of the things I tell people a lot of times now is, what do you believe you can do? Because belief, you can have an idea, but if you don't really believe in your idea, you're not going to make anything happen either.
Right.
So until you really believe in what you're going to do, then, you may have to step back for a minute. Part of belief, though, is taking action. And I'm really a big fan of taking action, because one way or another, you're going to learn something from the action you take.
You're going to find out, right?
You're going to find out, either this works or it doesn't, Some people are afraid to fail. That is just, they're like, well, what if I do it and it doesn't work? Well, at least you're in you've learned something, So, if you want to grow a nonprofit or anything that you want to do, you go for it. Take a chance, take a risk, take calculated risks. You know, I actually was just talking to a young man yesterday that has his own, he has his own barbershop now, and he's trying to grow. And he's like, man, I'm trying to see how this is going to work. So we're talking, and I told myself, I want you to have two things on your mind. Don't worry about all the, you know, because he's got a big dream of all these shops and all this. I said, okay, how's your credit? It's not real good. Okay. How's your cash flow? Well, I'm working on it. I said, if I'm you, I've got two things on my mind. Create cash and increase my credit. When you have cash and credit, opportunities, I promise you, will come your way.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset. Sometimes we gotta shrink it down.
That's a good point, man, because you can get bogged down in, okay, all of the operational things that need to be done. And do I have a business plan? And, you know, I'm doing all this activity. I'm not getting the results. It's like, what do I need to change? I don't know. And that helped me, what you just said right there, you know, because with a nonprofit, you know, doing the programming is really, it comes relatively easy. Right. And one of the differences between this nonprofit and a for-profit is in my particular one, I don't get money from people who come to my programs because they're free, but I got to have the focus of how do I get funding from grants, from sponsors, and from donors. And so those are my customers from a standpoint to where I'm getting revenue, and I got to make sure that revenue is coming in, because this, even though it's free to the people, it's not free to do.
Absolutely.
Right. And so focus on just that. And I have all these other things to do to get the programs going, but that is critical to the lifeblood. And so that's critical for any business, cash flow and having credit. And I also say that if you have a great idea, resources will come to you.
Absolutely.
So tell me about a time in your business where, again, we're looking at you and your father has a long history of success. You know, we perceive you have a long history of success, no failures, but tell me about a time where things didn't go as well and your cash flow wasn't like you thought it would be. And you may have been in the stuck of, okay, what do I do? Now I gotta practice what I would tell somebody.
Oh, man.
Yeah, tell us about that, man.
Oh, yeah. So my mom died in 2010.
My condolences, man.
Yeah, man. She died in 2010, and I had my own location on Gaston. So she ran the one on Mockingbird where we are now. I ran one on Gaston. The one on Gaston was doing really well. A lot of good things happening. When my mom passed, I started to go take care of the affairs there to help my dad, because my dad really, you know, they've been married 40 years. It's like he just kind of just want to let's pull away. I said, hey, you know, I got it. Let me see what we got going on. I started learning where we were in the business, because I had never seen the books. And I'm going, I don't even know how we're still going. And I'm thinking, we've got to make a change. You know, I mean, barely making payroll, like having to pull people, like cutting hours and just barely. I don't know how the doors were open, honestly.
Got you.
Honestly,
Okay.
if I'm being very honest and transparent. After that happened, one of the things and the reason why I say cash and credit, because that's where this was created. Because at that point, I thought to myself, we've got to get people through these doors. If we don't, we're going to be in trouble. And at that time, the location was really bad, just a bad location, very seedy area where it was then. And so I said, you know, there were a lot of office buildings around there, but what I learned was nobody knew what your location looked like when you're catering. I said, okay, catering's got to be what we need to do. So I would start taking flyers out all around the area, and I would just walk and meet every individual person on every floor. Every hospital, Parkland, UT Southwestern, I was everywhere. I ran into this little lady one time, and this little lady said, she was a receptionist. She said, she took my flyer, and she goes, she starts smelling the flyer. I was like, what are you doing, ma'am? She's like, I don't smell anything. And I said, what do you mean? I don't smell anything. She's like, what do you mean you don't smell anything? I don't smell smoke. And I said, oh my God. So I said, okay, yes, ma'am. Well, I'll come and see you again. So I ran out of that place, and and the only reason why I had these flyers was I took $50 out of the cash register and just printed on color paper our menu. That's all, because I didn't have any money to use, you know. So that day, I took another $50 out. It went to the printer and just copied this orange menus, because they wanted something this big color. I took them and I smoked the menus overnight. Swear to, I promise you.
Some smoked flyers, right?
I smoked the flyers. The next day, I hit blanketed the area, and then 2 days, like within about 30 minutes, people start coming through the doors, running through the doors. And the next few months, I just kept doing it. But I started doing it so much, we started getting so busy, I had to call my brother. I was like, bro, I need some help. Because I was the delivery driver, the advertiser, and the cook. I was like, I can't do all of this.
Right.
And we had one little van that barely was driving. And they start calling. And that's how the business turned around.
So it came back to, man, again, my condolences, because I know how tough it is. And like my uncle passed recently, and they've been married for 60 years.
Oh, wow.
So I know that's tougher.
That.
I mean, you don't want that on anybody. I know that you've been married for 15 years, right?
15 years, yeah.
Yeah. So my deepest condolences for that.
Thank you.
And out of that, though, it put you in a situation where you had to really, practice what you were preaching.
Yes, sir.
Right? So it is truly cash flow and being creative and innovative, right? All right, man, I appreciate you sharing that story, man, because I'm telling you that can resonate with a lot of different people right now. A lot of people are thinking, okay, I got to focus.
Right.
I got to focus, man. And but that's just one. I know there's been many other times.
Oh, man.
Like once you do that, it's like it's not over.
Oh, it's not over.
Life gives you another lesson.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fire teaches you a lot. It teaches you to read your insurance policy.
Oh, my God. What is it? I think Steve Jobs said, entrepreneurs like you, he said, you've got to do something that you really love. And I'm assuming that you love this.
I do now. I didn't when we were broke.
Yeah.
I just believed in it, though. I thought it had potential.
You had passion.
I had passion.
Yeah.
I had passion for food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And so now his point is, because the stuff you got to do to make it work.
Right.
Like any rational person wouldn't want to do it.
Right. No, it's crazy. Entrepreneurs are crazy.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard for people to leave a job. It's like, you're going to keep giving me this steady diet of cash, right?
Right.
If I keep showing up. When you're an entrepreneur, you know how it is, Clifton. Hey, you eat what you kill. It's like, if you don't kill anything today, you don't eat. And that's what people aren't ready for that part of entrepreneurship. They see all of the people where everything is great and everything is good and it's looking good and nice car or whatever. Hey, you didn't see it when I had a 2-door 83 Mercedes.
Yeah.
It didn't have any air conditioning or heat. It's like, and you're just trying to make it.
Right.
You know, and you're putting everything back into the company. Even when it looks like things are great. It's just the hole was big.
Yeah. But again, it's like, but that's what this country was made out of.
Right.
The imagination, the vision that you have, and the belief in it to create something, even though all you got is the vision.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you sharing that story, and tell me about how Goldman Sachs, in addition to giving you access to those, to the thought process. Why did you even how did you get introduced to them, and why because I think I talked to your brother, and your brother went through a different program.
Yeah, he went through, I forgot,
it was another bank or something?
It was another organization that was really strong as well, but the Goldman Sachs program, I was introduced to it by Royland Reed, really amazing woman, has her own business, and she had been a customer for years. And she watched us grow. And so we were getting to this point. And she came in one day, we had a line out the door. She was like, you need some help. You need to figure out how to grow this. And I was like, I'm trying to see if I need to get an MBA or something. She's like, you need to go to the Goldman Sachs program. It's going to help you scale. I'm like, okay. At that point, I didn't even really know what scale meant.
Right.
What does that mean?
Scale. Let's go some fish.
Fish, we sell fillets, right. And so I started pursuing it, and she recommended me, I ended up getting in the program. I had no idea the amount of knowledge. Like the Goldman Sachs program, the value is between $55,000 and $65,000 that you don't pay for. They break down from finances to planning to marketing and legal assistance. I mean, it's every facet of a business you study and go through. And basically, it's like a case study, but the case study is your business.
Yeah.
And what it really does is it makes an entrepreneur step away and actually think. That's half of the reason why most entrepreneurs don't grow is they're working so much they don't get a chance to create or think. You know, that's what I tell people a lot of times now is, for me, meditation is huge because I used to be a really big daydreamer, and I didn't realize that I can take that same daydreaming and use it towards my company.
Okay.
And I would daydream solutions. And I was like, oh, that's how, okay. So whenever I get into a jam, I just start daydreaming about what potentially the solutions could be to get us out of wherever or to increase sales or whatever my thought is. You know, guys do it really well with women. We daydream really well.
Right. What you thinking about, right?
You know, it's like, I think I can get her. I know what I can do. You know. But when you do it for your business,
that's a different,
you can do it, you know.
Do you journal as well?
Oh, my God. Almost every day.
Yeah, that's another, I would say, best practice or success habit. So let's talk a little bit more about that because I think every big business, you look at Steve Jobs, you look at Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and businesses that are truly global businesses started as a small business.
Right.
And so you're looking at these small businesses that are world global businesses now. And what happened? We got a lot of entrepreneurs, but if we don't step back and really look at, okay, how do I now not be so much in my business, but work on my business and take that vision and imagination and create a scalable company, we're going to be stuck.
Right.
And so not only did they give you $55,000 or $65,000 of education, it's priceless when you look at the team that was able to sit down.
Oh, man.
And create this plan. Then it's just you got to do it.
Yeah.
And then that scalable is always going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I'm really an advocate of Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses. Yeah. One of the things about the Empower series is I want to bring resources that people don't know about, and a lot of people, not enough people know about Goldman Sachs.
Right.
I just had the owner of A&E Media Group go through the process.
Oh, cool.
And it was really difficult. So he's so busy growing his business and being his business. And so I was able to get him through the interview process, and he's going to start the program later in September.
Oh, it's going to change his life.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So I think that the team that's coming, the people who come to the Empower series, the people that I work with, I want to have them be good examples of what the Empower series is all about.
Right.
It's like nobody has to reinvent the wheel. You have the faith, have the belief, and I have to be a model of that too. So the Empower series growing and being an international nonprofit, sustainable organization has to be a good example of what we're preaching as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man. And so outside of that, you are not only a business owner, right? We talked about you being married. Is your wife? Does she work, or is she an entrepreneur? How does that work now too?
That's so funny. Yeah. So she worked for a number of years. She actually quit her job a few years ago and actually started her own company. She's an amazing editor.
Oh, okay.
So she started her own company, was doing really well. Actually wanted to kind of pull away from that, so she actually started working for TGI Friday and ended up working directly with the CEO of the company. So she did that for about 7 years and then decided to step down and do her own company again. Well, during the time of the fire, she decided to go with me to New York to the Goldman Sachs, to the coaching.
Okay.
So when she sat in and watched how the people reacted and responded to our plan and how they bought into it and how they thought that this could grow, she was like, I can help. And I was like, I know.
I've been telling you
hey,
that, right?
I know, I was like, you sure can. But, I never wanted her to be pushed into it.
Right.
I just want her to do it on her own. If this is a part of your journey, great. If not,
Gotcha.
that's okay too. But
Gotcha.
I know that there's a fit. So now she's been working with the company over a year.
Mm-hmm.
She's completely built out our HR program because she's a genius.
Yeah.
And so now we're going in. Now we're building our training program because basically we're building everything we need in order to position ourselves to franchise if we want.
Dude, that is key. And you talk about franchising. You know who Calvin Golden is, right?
I know that name.
So Calvin, I got to connect you with him because many people don't know about Calvin. Okay. But Calvin partnered with Antonio Swad and the partner who created Wingstop.
Wingstop, that's why I know. Yeah, he's got DeSoto and Cedar Hill and several places.
But do you know he actually built out their franchise model?
Wow, no.
Dude, he spoke too.
Wow.
In 1997, Antonio wanted to franchise his store. He was talking to an attorney, didn't know how to do it, so they called Calvin because he's an expert when it comes to franchises. He partnered with them, and he created the construction model, the circular. He sold the first 13.
Wow.
He bought 8 over the course of years, and, it's been bought out over several times. So he still has some, but, it was just those 3.
Wow.
And he grew up in DeSoto.
Oh, my goodness.
Went to Cedar Valley College, graduated from UTA out in Arlington.
Yeah.
So I think he's again, man, we have resources all around us.
Man.
So that's what he does. He still does his stuff. He has a few wing stops, but he gives his knowledge to people who are starting businesses.
Wow.
If they want to franchise, imagine working with someone like him.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So dude, just around the corner, bro.
Oh my goodness.
See, another connection to a resource.
Another connection.
See what I'm saying?
Look at the Empower series. Doing it again.
Hey, it's just an idea, man. And it's not
I love
me,
it.
right?
Hey, I love it. I love it, man. And I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with the Empower series. I mean, it's amazing what you guys are doing for people in the community. And I think it's just so valuable that people, they don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I sat in, with the one that we were a part of, and the knowledge that you were dropping for free. I was like,
that's
oh
the key,
my
isn't it?
God. They don't know he's giving the blueprint.
Right.
It's amazing.
And man, I'm telling you, the way I look at it is this. We have people in our communities, so they're low to moderate income. Mm-hmm. My belief is that the most valuable thing that they have is their idea and their imagination.
Yes, sir.
And just like you said, you're dreaming. Your ability to slow down and think. Everybody that has created any kind of wealth started with an idea.
Absolutely.
And then they had the belief and they attracted resources. And a lot of times they didn't use their own resources. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we may not have money is it's an illusion that we're in lack. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
We got resources. We talk. We got people like Calvin Golden. We got people like you that we can pick your brain. And then there's access to resources. You got good credit. If you don't have good credit, use somebody else's credit.
That's right. Hey, there's a way.
So I'm just thinking the most valuable resource we have are our ideas.
Yes, sir.
And then our belief. And you look at even Steve Harvey's story. Mm-hmm. His whole thing about imagination. And when he was a kid, he just believed that he wanted to be on TV. And so I don't know, I can go on, but I want to bring that type of awareness into our communities, not just here in Dallas. We're in Houston now on the second Saturday of every month. Okay. And we're going to go to Los Angeles and other states. And just a little bit, we have another program tomorrow. Okay. I don't know if you knew that on the third Saturday of every month, we're always someplace at the Highland Hills Library. Okay. We had a lunch and learn today. Okay. And we were talking about the connection between health and wealth. Oh, wow. So we have Robert Selders, who is the owner of 3Q Fitness. You know Robert?
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's right.
It's Goldman Sachs, brother. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, he was on point. So we were at the Meadows Conference Center. So he spoke there. Then we're going to have the workshop. So if you can make it, please come. Yeah. It's tomorrow at 10:30 at the Highland Hills Library. Sweet. He's going to drop some more knowledge. You're going to get us moving and show us how we can do little things to not only improve our physical health, but those same principles applied to finances. Absolutely. Can rock the world. Absolutely. And then the last plug I'll do is next month, we got the sister named Wendy Ida. Okay. Have you heard of her?
I don't know her.
But I know you've seen her, man. So if you look at a picture and you go to our Facebook page, you'll see this lady who's like very in shape. She looks very young, but she's 67 years old. Oh, wow. And her story is very compelling. She's going to be in the Southern Dallas Magazine. Okay. But what happened, she came out of a 12-year domestic violence relationship out of New Jersey. Wow. And tried to escape several times and escaped with her life, moved out to Los Angeles in the 80s and was still like she called herself a scared little animal. thinking that a van was going to pull up and take her away. But she started working out with a personal trainer and started to sense some control over her life. And then she just took it off, man. And she's been in the Guinness Book of World Records, and she's now a personal trainer, and she helps people take charge of their lives.
Wow.
And it all starts with the mindset.
Absolutely.
So going back with, believing in yourself, and whether your story is something as horrific as being in a domestic violence situation or being poor or just having an event of your burnt store, or the biggest one is the loss of a loved one.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you come from. It's like you can always recover.
That's right.
And so I just want the Empower series to be an inspiration, hope, connecting the resources and make it work, man.
It is.
Yeah,
Man, it's phenomenal. I like what you said about the whole ideas. One of the things, my wife and I are big on agreement.
Yeah,
There's a big time where you agree with yourself.
Oh my gosh! When you think about it, Dr. Luana Gladney.
I know that name. Yes.
Okay, so she wrote the book called. She already written a book. It's called How to Get the Love You Need.
Okay.
And I know it's not How to Get the Love You Need. It's, man, I cannot. I'm messing up her title right now.
That's all right. That's what Google is for.
But the point is, she makes the point that you just made. Your relationship with yourself and knowing who you are is going to really draw the right person to you.
Yes.
And a lot of times, in relationships, it's really key. You're trying to get something from somebody else that you really need to figure out with yourself first. And once you figure it out with yourself, then you'll be the right person to, make that external relationship work.
And that's the funny thing is, a lot of times we say we want something, but we actually don't know we're wanting what someone else has, but not actually what we want. So my wife would, I wanted to be on television, like Food Network, and I wanted to be able to do these type of things. I remember she asked me, she said, "Is that what you want? Are you sure?" And she looked at me, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I don't know. Let me think about it." So about 3 weeks later, she came back. She's like, and we were watching Food Network, 2012. I want that. I do. She's like, okay. So she shook my hand and came into agreement. She said, okay, then if you agree with it, just watch, So I've been on national TV now since then 4 times. And we have a show that airs on Food Network in a couple of months.
Really?
But it was us agreeing with ourselves first.
Got you.
What is it that you think you want to do? Do you really want to do this? Is that what you want? Because if it's what you want, I promise God will make it happen. Yeah. But it has to be true for you. And I think that's what the meditation time is. Is this really what I want? Do I want the Empower series to really grow? Okay, I do. Then watch what pieces start coming to play and start to everything will start to. I'm a big fan of. I'm a reader. I actually just became a reader within the last 8 to 10 years. I really wasn't before that.
Be honest, right? 1.4. Remember, y'all.
1.4 is real. That really happened. That really happened. But it's you start reading different books and everything, and you talk about the name of a book. It's a book that I read all the time. Oh my God, I can't think of the name of this book.
Do you know who wrote? I don't remember authors that much.
I know, right? Oh my God, what's the name of this book? The Alchemist.
Oh yes, dude.
Oh my God,
dude.
I tell everybody.
Somebody who's read that book, I hear you.
If you just read it once a year, the beginning of the year, once a year, it just gets your mind set for your year.
Okay.
And and you'll put yourself in agreement and just watch what God does to make what you want happen. I mean, we didn't have our insurance company was only going to give us $53,000 because of our policy. You saw our location. That is not $53,000.
Right.
When I tell you, God made the whole thing happen, and He started bringing people and started making things happen to where we were able to take care of it, and insurance changed their mind and took care of different things for us. But we wanted to come back and rebuild. And that was true for us. When you come into agreement with yourself first, and then, to me, that's why most people's prayers sometimes don't work. Is this what you want? Because when you come into agreement with yourself and then with God, He's going to make it happen.
Yeah.
I promise it's going to make it happen.
So that's a good point, man. One of the things I did a talk recently, and I was talking about positioning yourself to win.
Oh, wow.
And there's all these things you can Google that and find all these different things. But at the end of the day, I talked about Socrates' words of an unexamined life is not worth living, and he was making the point that the value of your life is really knowing yourself.
Yes.
And spending the time doing that and questioning yourself and really coming in terms with what do you want. So let's define what winning is, because it's different for everybody. And I believe that the path to that is slowing down and being quiet.
Yes, sir.
Meditating and journaling and putting your thoughts on paper so that you can just figure that out. And so that process is very important, but that's going to give you the foundation to get in alignment, and then what's going to happen is just going to flow.
Absolutely.
So that's
amazing.
So injecting that in our community, man, that's what we're doing.
Man, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I mean, that makes the difference, And once you do that, I mean, you're gonna see growth. Right now, like when I was in this, we were struggling. The company was struggling. One of the biggest things that I realized was I read something in the Bible said hard work produces a profit, and at that time we were losing $7,000 to $8,000 a month. And I read that scripture and I was like, okay, I don't know a lot, but I know how to work hard. And I said, God, if I work hard, will you produce a profit? That was my base. And I just started working hard, taking every catering event that we could ever take, doing everything, being everywhere that I could, and we started producing a profit. And so as the turnaround of our company took place, and we got past that point, the next thing I realized was what you just were saying, strategy. Hard work does produce a profit, but what produces legacy is strategy and planning. And that comes from meditation and stepping away from your environment and creating your vision and writing your vision and writing your action steps to get to your vision.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that in the middle of where I am right now is strategy. And that's what I love so much about the last time I came to the Empower series was you were igniting people to take steps. Even if your step is small, you're like empowering them to take that step. I remember there was a lady that stood up, and I remember her name. But she had. Oh wait, what was it? You remember her name?
I'm trying to remember, man. Go tell me if you remember what she said.
I just remember her. I think she closed her first loan or something, and to just get started with her company. Yeah. But she said she had been coming to she learned from you, like she just said, following your steps.
Yeah, it's cool. And here's the thing, though, man. I will tell you that it's not so much me. It really isn't, because I do believe that this idea was just given to me. I'm being a good steward of it. I really believe that someone's told me once that, Clifton, you're doing some good stuff. Like you're giving back to the community. It was like I've arrived and I've learned something, and I'm just sharing my wisdom. I said, nah, man. It's like this is for me just as much as it's for you. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Like I come every day to every workshop, and they don't see. I listen to these things multiple times. I was just listening to yours again today.
Wow,
right?
wow.
And so I'm an advocate of Zig Ziglar, who says motivation is a lot like taking a bath. He recommends that you do it daily.
Love it. I just stole it.
Listen to motivational things, and the Empower Series is good. But we see ourselves, man. There's so many more. Yeah. I have so many more ideas that I need to be more disciplined about implementing. And this other friend of mine just recently told me when I was, we all need to be stretched. And I was telling her of an idea that I also had some conflicting thoughts about. And she said, "Do you believe that your idea would save lives and inflict lives?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "So do you care?" I was like, well, like the way you said that.
Right,
like,
right.
Yeah, I care. It's like, of
course.
Well, get over it. Like, we'll do it. And I was like, oh, I just had nobody likes to be stretched, man.
No. Oh,
so
man.
if you have an idea that will impact the world and will grow, you playing it small, you being fearful, you procrastinating, whatever excuse you have for taking no action is about, do you really care?
Yes, sir.
And I was like, oh, that hit me hard. The Empower Series is for the community, but I'm part of that community.
Yes, sir.
I need it just as much as anybody
Man. I mean, oh my God. What you just said just hit me. I mean, do you care? It's like, man.
Do you care? It's like,
you measure everything to caring. Oh my God. I guess I do. I guess I better do it.
Get off your butt and work out.
Yes, sir.
Save your money. Meditate. Any excuse for you not doing what you need to do, read more.
Right.
Write down your vision, do your planning, do all that stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, how do people do it? And they make time to do it.
They do.
They make time to do it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is to take a little bit at a time, because sometimes we just get overwhelmed. And generally what happens, that's what generally people say. Like I said, I read a lot. Book that I was reading, this male, I forgot her last name, she was talking about in this book that procrastination is generally stress relief. It's that people are so stressed about whatever that you're just doing something else, be it on your phone, be it doodling or whatever else you're doing. You're procrastinating because your circumstance is stressing you out so much that you're just doing nothing right now. And I started to that changed me, because what it made me realize, when I started procrastinating, I start going, oh my God, so what am I avoiding? Because I'm avoiding something. I'm avoiding work that needs to be done.
It needs to be done, right.
It needs to be done. I'm avoiding it. And then I had to deal with, why is that stressing me out so much? And so I have to start analyzing myself, because what I learned more than anything through Goldman Sachs, and this is not a big shocker, I was the problem.
Ain't nothing external, right?
There was nothing anybody else was doing. It wasn't the bank. It wasn't my family. I was the problem. I was why we were not growing. I was the problem. And once you embrace that, then it's like this, okay? If you're a real entrepreneur, all an entrepreneur is a person that gives a solution. To be an incredible entrepreneur, you give yourself the solution for you. And I promise you, your business will grow.
Yeah.
If you can take your own solution, you can win.
That's crazy. And Jim Rohn, right? So he always says, when he talks about his story where his mentor was asking him, so what's the problem? He's like making a list. He's looking at all these problems. And then his mentor looked at the list and said, there's only one problem with the list. You're not on it.
That's it. That's it. I'm telling you. That is so true.
Like, you're not on it, man.
Look, I'm number one on it, Clifton. I promise you I'm number one on it. If it's not happening, it's because of this. It's like I see people all the time. I like sit down and counsel with folks.
Yeah.
Like, how's your business going, this and that? Well, my such and such is not doing this. My manager won't do this. And it's okay. Why do you think they're not doing any of that? What are you doing?
Right.
No, it can't be me. It's like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah. Right.
Apples come from the tree.
Yeah, man.
You, sir, would be tree. So that's the biggest deal, man.
There's a technique called the shadow of a leader as well.
Oh, wow.
And it's a hard one, because when you look at any team, and it takes, your team takes on certain characteristics of you. Unfortunately, you cannot control which ones they take.
That's true.
but they usually if there's something that they're not doing that you're frustrated with, then the question they ask is, what actions do I see in my team that is a reflection of me? And if it's not being on time, if it's procrastinating, putting things off, you might think you're doing all this stuff, but who you're being is really showing up louder than what you're saying. And so those are all great insights, man.
Oh, man.
All great insights.
I need to get everything you just said. I need to get that Shadow of a Leader.
Shadow of the Leader.
Oh,
man.
my God. It's a new book. I got to get that now.
So you just said you consult. So I was wondering about what do you do in giving?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about, in addition to you being a family man,
okay.
in addition to you being a businessman, you have, you only have 24 hours a day, but not enough time to do everything. You still find time to give. So tell me about your giving.
Oh, yeah. So be it mentoring with different kids, so our team members at our restaurant, I mean, that's to me the biggest thing we pour into.
Yeah. Because
as we see these guys evolve and grow, the brand grows. So the biggest focus is one of our core values is education. And so we think about educating ourselves and then educating our team and then hopefully our community. So we get involved. We do donations for a lot of organizations, church groups, and then it's just taking time with individuals that are trying to grow their business. I mean, we literally just met about 4 weeks ago with a young lady that has a pretty successful business, but she's seen how well we do with catering, and she's like, "Hey, can I talk to y'all about what you're doing with?" I was like, "Come on, you got
to smoke your flyers."
Hey, put them in. Hey, you need to get some. And she's big on baking cakes. She just needs a little sugar, a little frosting in her flyers. I mean,
you start smelling her flyers.
Oh man!
Okay, first thing you need to do.
See, this don't smell like cookies,
right?
But that's the deal, and we love it. We love being able to share information that's worked for us, and to see how how other people can grow their business and grow their companies. There's so much business in Dallas right now. It's just ridiculous with the amount of people that are moving to Dallas. Opportunities are endless right now, But like I said, the biggest thing that we focus on, we're developing training, getting ready to start developing our training manuals. And we actually hire a lot of ex-offenders too.
That is so good, man.
Yeah.
That is so good because, coming out of prison, it's so hard now, man.
It's hard. And, guys come out and it's like, guess what? They could have just made a stupid mistake as a kid. Just one little situation could put them in a situation where you can't get a job now.
Yeah.
So I've got different guys that we've hired. And I tell you what, there's nothing like bringing a person onto your team where no one has given them a chance. That's the part that people miss. It's like, well, I can't find any good people. Okay, you got to find the ones that really, really want a chance.
Yeah.
Because if you give those guys a chance, they'll give you loyalty. And in restaurant business, our turnover rate generally is really high.
Yeah.
That's why we spend so much time pouring back into our team. Because we want to, what did you do? Why did you make that mistake? What were you thinking? And most of the time, these guys and ladies just don't have any wisdom around them. So hopefully you be around us, and what are you thinking about? What's going on? Man, I'm having this problem with this. And we start talking it through, and like, man, I didn't even think about that. It's like, okay.
Yeah, man.
So let's share. Let's talk. I mean, my door is open, So our teammates come in, and then we have we're starting it again. We used to do like Saturday meetings from 8 to 9:30. We do a meeting with the whole team.
Okay. And
we just pour into them. And maybe sometimes my brother does a series on dreaming. So we'll have people that come in, they'll start working with us, and it's like they've never had a vacation. It's like, okay, so let's figure out how you're going to get a vacation. One of our team members, she started just working at the fair. Now she is my head chef.
Wow.
And from that conversation, the next year she took her whole family on a cruise. So we're showing guys and ladies, create a dream, and let me show you the steps to take in order to get there. We just had one of our managers just got their own house. So and it's just being able to that's what this is all about for us. It's like,
I got you, man.
We sell food, but our business is people. Our business is really ministry, because what we want to do is to be able to pour into all of our teammates as well as all of the customers that come in.
Yeah.
Because that's our tagline. Come as customers, leave as family.
And oh man, really? That's cool, man. And so one of the things is that when you look at your ability to affect your customers' lives, it's really your team.
Absolutely.
So when you build a healthy team and an engaged team, a motivated team, then they're able to have that reach and that effect with everybody that they come in contact with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you guys are looking at franchising now too?
So we're thinking about it. The plan that I showed Goldman was basically 5 stores.
Okay.
We want to use a spoke wheel model, basically, as the Mockingbird location is the hub, like the center of the spoke.
Right.
And then we just take different spaces like Plano and Arlington, Mesquite, Irving, and then we'll just do those 5 stores, track it, see how we do, and make a decision on how we want, if we want to expand and we want to sell, or do we want to do like Chick-fil-A and they still are independently owned.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really interesting. I really do want to connect you with Calvin though, man.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Pick his brain, because I just think, man, for someone to have built a model like Wingstop and have it be bought out by several private equity firms now, and he gave his story at the Red Brick Mall, and it's on YouTube. You should check it out.
Got to see that.
He's a storyteller as well, man.
Wow.
He's a storyteller, but he tells it. He talks about how he got the idea of being an entrepreneur by listening to a sermon at church. And he just stepped you through the whole process of him going through different jobs and how this opened up for him, and how that first deal of the first store that he bought himself was right across from the Red Brick Mall, I think.
Okay.
And his ability to put his package together after working it and selling it for the multiples was just. Antonio Schwab is made billions,
wow.
But he's cool. He made his millions.
Right. Hey, nothing wrong with that at all.
Right.
I definitely got to connect with him. I love it.
Man, our time has flown, bro.
Man, I appreciate it. Clifton, just the opportunity. This is amazing.
Yeah, I know your story is like, where is he at, right? He's supposed to be back right now. So what's he doing? Your brother's like,
they're good.
Where you at, man? Where you at? He's blowing up your phone.
Oh, man, they're good. They're good. They handle it, man. That's the beauty of it now. That's growing and developing our team. They can handle it.
Well, I tell you what, man, my thought is, what can the Empower Series do for you? Good question, huh?
That's a good question. That's good.
I got you stumped, bro. Let me tell you why. Because I don't know how many times people ask you that question, number one. But I want you to think about it. And the first off, it might take you time to come up with it. Okay. And I would encourage you to ask the people who are watching, to ask the people you care about, how can you be a greater support to them? And the first thing that may come up might be superficial stuff. Like you might say, hey, you can bring me more customers, or whatever the stuff that's really obvious. But because you're not asked that enough, you need to really be quiet. And the more supportive stuff is underneath the surface. And just continually ask. So I'm going to ask you that again, when I'm up there buying some ribs or something.
Yeah, come on. I love it.
But I do want to make sure that I'm doing something for you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you and what your brother's doing.
Thank you.
Your family, you giving to your employees and giving to all the community. And if there's anything that we can do to be a resource to you in any way, we're all in.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate you giving us an opportunity with my brother, and just everything that you guys do just blesses us all the time.
Well, I'll tell you, a friend of mine just texted me, and he just asked me, and it was Dexter. Dexter was on the show as well.
Okay.
But he just sent me a text, and he said, this is right before we came. He said, hey, what's up, Cliff? If you had to get some US barbecue, smoke and flavor, where would you go? And I said, Smokey John.
Nice. Man. See? You're just changing lives all across the city.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate you, man.
Well, man, hey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, and I would say, listen to us. This is going to be recorded, so if you're listening to us now and you think someone else should be listening to this, share it with them. We have around 2,600 people, 2,600 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Very cool.
We want more. We've had comments from people in different countries, different states.
Wow.
The Empower Series has a global reach. And so, again, I want to thank our sponsors, Comerica Bank, A&E Media Group. Your generous donations, keep them coming at our website, www.empowerseries.com. And you can text, give, or donate to 214-225-6773. And see you tomorrow, hopefully, at our next Empower Series workshop at the Highland Hills Library. Peace out. All right, man.
Take care. Thanks, Clifton.